Roughly 2 years ago, I downloaded Unreal Engine and decided that I was going to make my own racing game. Within the first week, I had made this little track with a running car by following a bunch of tutorials and experimenting with Unreal Engine. At the time, I had no idea that this would turn into a 2-year-long development project of creating Apex Rush, a game now consisting of track racing, stunting, drifting and track building that is now nearing the end of its development phase and is launching in early access soon on Steam. Which you can wishlist right now. It helps out a ton and it lets you know when the game comes out. The game has come so far and I'm very happy with how it's turning out. So today I want to show the current state of the game, go over some new things and talk about what's left before the game is ready to launch. Okay, so by now I know a lot of you are wondering, what took so long? And not just the game, but yeah, since the last devlog. I guess the short answer is that I had to figure out a lot of things that I had sort of put off for a long time, which I guess going into, I really had like no idea where to start. Because I'm still learning, you know, as I go along. That's why it's taken a bit longer. So for example, creating a global save system for the whole game so you can actually save stuff like customization, your high scores and best times, the level, XP, because up until this point, none of what you did in the game actually saved. Also figuring out all the code for the racing and the drift mode, which is everything from calculating high scores, delta times, which medal you unlock, how much XP is given, as well as uploading those scores to a global Steam leaderboard. Tweaking a ton of features in the track builder to make it as smooth and fast to build with as possible, just really focusing on improving the quality of life. So yeah, I had to learn so much, but I'm really happy with how it's all turning out. I'm trying to build everything as modular as possible so I can just keep on expanding it. So now I guess I finally have a fully working game, finally, like with working game loops. So now I can build upon that and of course finish the game. Alright, so I put everything that's new into categories, so just sit down, lean back, and let's begin with vehicles. I put a lot of effort into fine-tuning the handling as always. I showed the new car in the previous video, the Alera, which has a jump ability. I wasn't sure at first if I wanted to add a cooldown to how often you can jump, but I've decided to not add one at all. Mostly because I've discovered some pretty fun tech that you can do while you're driving without using a cooldown. So yeah, I'm keeping that completely off for now. I've also created a drift version of this car, which you can imagine is a lot of fun when you can jump into drifts and do some fun combos. And of course we have a new engine sound as well for the Alera, which I didn't have in the previous devlog. I'll go more into detail of the new sound design a bit later on in the video. I've improved the in-air controls on all cars to be more precise. Specifically when you launch off a vertical ramp, you will now go straight back down into the ramp, as long as you don't build up a bunch of momentum by flipping the car in the air. Since the game is still fully physics-based, you can get different results depending if you start spinning or flipping really fast. For example, I can show it right here. If I go straight up and then just flip the car, you just hold spacebar to enable the yaw control in mid-air. We'll just go straight back down. Can do it here as well, go into the hood cam, simply flip around like that, and you can just go straight back down. The issue was that previously the car would keep flying this way even when you left the ramp going straight up. But as you can see now, it goes back into the ramp, and you can see it over here as well. And these lines show like exactly where the car is driving when you're building in the track builder. I'm also testing a version of the cars now where the handbrake actually makes the car slide when it's being held down. The cars would previously just perform a harder brake essentially with the handbrake, but this is more interesting and it also makes sense when you're driving. I'm just currently figuring out how much slide I actually want. I think right now it's a bit too extreme because you keep sliding for a pretty long time, so I'm gonna tweak that. I also added an option to use an automatic gearbox instead of a manual one like I'm doing right here. Now this is only for the drift cars, so if I go into here, we can go to the left, which says toggle gearbox. We are now using an automatic gearbox. I don't have to shift or anything, and yeah, it works just fine. But if you ever played a drifting game, you know that the manual is the way to go. So yeah, I think default is gonna be set to manual, but yeah, very easily you can just hold on the radial menu and just toggle it to auto. I didn't want it to make it complicated to where you have to like go into the setting menu and like switch the gearbox over there and then come back to the game. Now for now it's only gonna be the drift cars that will have a manual gearbox. I'm not gonna add it for the race cars. Alright, let's talk about sound design. One of the most important things in any game, I feel like it's what makes the game feel more alive and immersive, which is why I have worked very closely with Kayo, who joined the team about a year ago to focus on everything sound related with the cars. And he has killed it with every single car. Now since last time we have focused a lot on sort of non-engine related sounds, starting off with adding wind rush that increases in intensity when you go faster with the car and in the air. We also tweaked how the engine sound plays when you're in midair. Previously it would loop the current RPM when you leave the ground, which could get quite annoying to listen to. So now it fades out the engine sound when you leave the ground, the wind rush comes on, and then when you land it picks back up with the current RPM. And also more precise sound of the wheel collision, so it picks up on even smaller bumps and curbs. I'm so happy that Kayo wanted to hop on this project with me. Previously coming from Rocket League and League of Legends, he has so much experience, and it's been really fun to expand the feel of the game as it just makes everything better. Right, so I didn't cover the track builder at all in the previous devlog, so let's hop in and take a look at it. So this is where players can build their own tracks from start to finish and then share them with other players. There's multiple new pieces that we have here since last time and new categories and everything. One of the biggest things is that I've actually increased the size of all the track pieces by almost 50% on the width, just so you have more room to move left and right and also find more potential lines to go faster on the map. Since the cars have more of an arcade handling with like more snappy steering, some tracks actually ended up being a bit too tricky to navigate when the track was too narrow. I think this was the case in the very first demo I released. Obviously that old handling was also very bad, looking back at it and comparing it to the current one. So yeah, the tracks are now wider, which just makes it more nicer to play in my opinion. There's also new categories such as environment and scenery. Environment just have stuff like, you know, palm trees and stuff. You can decorate the map, some other variation of trees. We also have some like bigger stone walls so you can build like tunnels and whatnot. You have this one which is flat so you can actually drive it. If I remove these two, we can probably see if we can drive this. Yeah, you can easily drive this one. Obviously a bit more bumpy, but yeah, pretty fun to drive. And then inside of scenery, you have stuff like bigger walls to like decorate the map. So yeah, a lot of new scenery pieces right here, the environment stuff, some new obstacles, some very slim pieces. And yeah, just the overall like movement of the track builder and like how you can select and like go around stuff. Obviously you can go into free place, move them how you want. Just a bunch of like quality of life upgrades have been done to the track builder to just make it as efficient as possible. There's still things I need to add in the UI right here, like I want a tutorial when you click this question mark right here. We also added track glow now at nighttime, so if we change the time of day to nighttime, we can then enable track glow, which looks pretty cool when you're driving at night, of course. It's still a bit dark. I think I need to up the brightness a little bit when you're driving at nighttime. Yeah, it gives the map a pretty cool like Tron look when you're driving at night. A crazy item that I decided to add is an in-air booster. Now this thing just basically launches the car in whichever direction this booster is facing. And yeah, this can be placed anywhere, so I'm just gonna like put it on the track over here. Driving into that, obviously gonna boost me forwards. Then if I go down here using this line, we can say, okay, I wanna brake right here. So we move this one this way, just rotate it, put it in the car tray like that. Then if we go again, we're obviously going to hit this, which can then slow me down, and as you can see from the car trail, slow me down to where I basically just go straight down right here. And there's a lot of tech that you can do with this, like you can drive upside down if you place a bunch of them up to the ceiling. You could build a whole map where you literally just get launched away on boosters. It's gonna be a lot of fun to see, yeah, what people come up with using these boosters right here. And yeah, of course, if we begin placing some checkpoints right here, you'll notice that this one now has numbers on it. So if we then place, we'll go with this one here, another checkpoint right over here, and then we'll do finish line right there. You'll notice that these have numbers, but they both say 0. That's because we need to validate the tracks. If we go down here, we're gonna validate the order of the checkpoints. So we're gonna go through number 1, number 2, and then finish. As you see, now this one is gonna say 2, this is checkpoint 1. Now the reason why we made it this way is because you can then validate exactly which order you want your placed checkpoints to be, because then when I play now, you'll see that they're ordered, and then when I go through them, you'll see right here, it's also gonna tell you what time you went through this specific checkpoint. It's very small, but it says right here, so I'm gonna add this to a UI like up in this corner too. And then if we go over to checkpoint number 1, it's gonna say, okay, I crossed this one at 2.323 seconds. So the last part of this track building system is just the saving part. So like after you validate the run, you set all the checkpoints to the finish line, you'll be able to save that into a file with a thumbnail, name the track and everything, and then publish that to the Steam Workshop. And you can also add maps to your game by just getting a file and then just adding it literally into your browser, and it's gonna be in your game. So like if you want to collaborate on a track, you can do that by just sharing files and whatnot. But I felt there's a lot of pieces right here to at least begin the track building journey of this game, and then yeah, we'll just expand, just add more pieces. And of course, going up here, you have the no edge pieces. So there's like a couple hundred pieces at least to build with. So I think that's a pretty good start for the track builder. Now, one thing which I still haven't figured out that I need to look into is custom leaderboards for player created maps. Obviously, I'd love to have this at launch so you can like battle your friends on your own maps. I'm gonna try my best to get this in for early access. If not, it's gonna come out sometime during development. Also, as we're getting closer to launch, I'll give more updates in the Discord server, which I can link in the description if you guys want to join that. But yeah, leaderboards for custom tracks are pretty tricky to get working, so I'm gonna try my best. Now, a setting menu is now also in the game, so you can change your video settings, audio, and also an input menu where you can now rebind the keys and of course see all the controls for both keyboard and mouse and controllers. I added the camera settings to the radial menu as well, which just allows you to tweak the camera to however you want it to during play. And if you're playing in free roam, you can now also set a spawn point that you can easily respawn to at any time, which is perfect for doing stunts or testing fun drift lines. It also stores the exact velocity and rotation when you use the moving respawn, and you can also use the still respawn to just go back without any speed. This of course is inspired by doing stunts in FiveM in GTA 5. We use this all the time for doing crazy stunt jumps, which I'm gonna try and add more of here in Apex Rush as well. Like I mentioned, the racing system now has a full working game loop, so when selecting a level, you can see what time is needed for different medals and the XP that it gives. So if I load into this showcase map right here, we get this little loading screen, we have the best time right here. So if I click play, we'll load in, and we're now gonna see the delta times whenever we go over the checkpoints, which of course will, compare to the best time that I've set on the track. So if I go here now, we'll get a new time, we'll see the final time, the XP that I'm given, we'll see the level of the car. You can see the level of the car down here. Gonna work on this UI a little bit more. If we go down here, we can access the leaderboard, which I can't do in Unreal Engine, it has to be on Steam. But this would load all of that up, and then we can go back and we can just, play again. And if I go straight ahead here, I should set a new best on this test map. Oh, here we go. Diamond medal, baby. So yeah, a couple of UI changes to be made, but yeah, now you actually have the medals. You have different sounds depending on which medal that you get. Now, drifting works in a similar way, but there's gonna be different modes in the drift mode as well. This one, for example, is just a max drift score event. So yeah, just literally score as many points as you can when drifting before the time runs out. Different medal is of course given depending on which score you get. And yeah, this is a new map as well, the Drift Docks, which I will show a little bit more very soon here. Now, I did set the timer to a really low time, so I won't actually be able to get, I think, any medal here. And yeah, when time runs out, you'll hear this noise. And then you get all the final score. And same thing here, of course, you get the medal depending on what score you get, XP, etc. And you can just open up the leaderboard here as well. The other drift mode includes having to hit targets before the time runs out as well to like gain points or lose points. But yeah, I still need to work a bit more on the game loop there. So now that the game systems are like 90% complete, I can finally go back to map design and building more levels. Apex City, I turned into this futuristic level out in the ocean. This is purely a free roam level, where it's gonna be like stunt jumps, fun obstacle runs, and you can of course also just drift around in the city and go to the new drift track in the middle as well. Sakura Mountain is still in progress as well, which will contain 5 different drift events leading down and up the mountain. Also, the drift docks that I just showed you guys in the drift mode. Got some more details to add on this one still, but it's turning out really nicely. I kind of wanted to make this map a bit more open, so you can use this one to sort of practice drifting. There's a lot of nice lines where you can do so. And there's also going to be a nighttime version of this map as well, which is gonna look pretty cool. And then I have one more world map to add, which is going to be a snow map, where I'm currently experimenting with ice physics as well. It's going pretty well, and it can add some fun variety to the gameplay, and I plan to begin work on the snow map next week, so be on the lookout for some sneak peeks on the Discord server. Right, so those are some of the things that are new since last time. Hopefully you can see how hard I'm working on this game, and of course the team as well. They're all pretty much wrapped up with their things. Now it's just me who have to, finish up the game. Now, I have decided to leave some stuff out that I initially wanted to have for the early access release, which includes like the stunt mode. That still needs some more work. But I think it makes sense to not release everything at once, because it is launching in early access. I'd rather just have the game out, get some feedback, and then release more content as the game goes on. But yeah, still no exact date. If I have to push back the release like a week or two, I will, just to fix some bugs. But yeah, obviously it's not gonna drag out the entire year. We will get Apex Rush before GTA 6. And yeah, once again, just want to say thank you for the support of this project, of course. Go to Steam and wishlist Apex Rush if you haven't already. It's truly the best way to support any indie game out there, not just my game, but all other indie game devs as well. An official trailer for the game is also in the works, and it is going to be coming out sometime this month, so in February. And yeah, I hope you're excited. I can't wait for you guys to play the game. Let me know what you think about the new additions, and yeah, I guess I will catch you guys next time. There might be one more devlog before release, which will be the final one. But anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Take care.